Krai Andrey promised his friends he'd be the greatest treasure hunter, but reality had other plans. As his friends become legendary, Krai, well, he's mastered the fine art of begging for his life. Watch the rise of their greed and Krai's desperate bid for retirement. The story begins with our main protagonist, Krai, and his 5 friends. They dream of becoming treasure hunters, one day exploring treasure vaults around the world and gaining riches and glory. Krai's friends are excited and ready to pursue this dream, but while they all step forward, Krai hesitates, looking confused. The scene shifts to a rainy day in the future where we see Krai as a grown young man. He's on his way to an interview to become a treasure hunter. Those who risk their lives fighting monsters called phantoms and explore treasure vaults to collect valuable relics. As Krai approaches the queue, waiting for his turn to be interviewed, he notices 2 soldiers entering the building ahead of him. He feels a pang of sadness, regretting that he doesn't possess any special skills or abilities. Suddenly, a girl calls out to him from behind. She introduces herself as Rutuda Runbeck, a level 3 hunter. Krai introduces himself as Krai Andrey, but awkwardly refuses to shake the hand she offers. Rutuda, unfazed, redirects the conversation to the large crowd gathered for the interview. Their conversation is interrupted when a man rudely mocks Rutuda for joining the White Wolf's den at level 3, calling her an amateur. Krai quietly steps back, avoiding the brewing conflict. As the argument escalates, Rutuda pulls out her knife, ready to fight, but a soldier steps in, stopping them before a confrontation breaks out. The soldier warns that if they fight, they'll lose their chance to join the clan. Both Rutuda and the man suddenly burst into laughter, claiming it was all a joke. Uninterested in their antics, Krai quietly slips away. Afterward, we see Krai and Rutuda inside the building. Rutuda is in awe as she spots several hunters around and excitedly remarks that she's never seen anything like this before. Krai, however, casually responds that it's his 5th time here. Rutuda then asks Krai about a flashy group of people at a party, to which Krai explains that they are members of Arcbrave, an elite group that completed a level 7 treasure vault with just 6 members. He points out their leader, Rodin. Truda then notices an empty desk beside Arcbrave's table and asks about it, but Krai remains silent. Suddenly, the same man who previously argued with Rutuda shows up. He introduces himself as Greg Hunter, a level 4 hunter. Greg starts talking about the clan that occupies the empty desk, calling them Grievers. Krai, in his thoughts, reveals that Grievers is a group of young hunters who came to the capital a few years ago. We are introduced to the 5 members of Grievers, whom Krai quietly refers to as his childhood friends. Rutuda points to another corner, where Greg explains that the hunters there are solo hunters, and adds that it's the first time Grievers are accepting new members into their clan. Suddenly, a commotion breaks out. A boy wielding a huge sword is loudly proclaiming himself the strongest and hurling insults at everyone. A black-haired girl named Tenno steps forward, challenging him to a duel. Just as things heat up, a man intervenes, calling the boy an idiot, which only angers him further. Greg, ever the instigator, tries to fuel the conflict, causing the room to clear as the duel is about to begin. Tenno confidently prepares for battle. Krai, sensing danger, urges Rutuda to escape before the duel gets deadly. As the crowd eagerly watches the 2 participants prepare to fight, Tenno suddenly senses something odd. Glancing around, she spots Krai quietly slipping out from behind the crowd. The duel begins, and the boy charges at Tenno, but she dodges his attack with ease, only to find herself face to face with Krai, who stumbles and falls to the floor. Surprised, Tenno asks Krai what he's doing here and addresses him as Master leaving Rutuda and everyone else stunned. We are then introduced to Krai's past. In the golden age of treasure hunters, one man stood above the rest, Krai Andrey, leader of a renowned party made up of his childhood friends. The scene shifts to Krai's childhood. He and his friends are exploring a treasure vault when Krai is nearly killed by a monster. Just as it's about to strike, one of his friends defeats it with a single blow. Everyone assumes Krai was acting as bait, and they start praising him for his bravery. However, Krai knows the truth. He feels he has the least talent compared to the rest of his friends. This realization leads him to plan his departure from the party. One day, Krai calls a meeting with the intention of announcing his retirement, but before he can say anything, his friends surprise him by unanimously deciding to make him their leader. Krai is shocked, and from that day forward, he unwillingly becomes the leader of the group, a role gifted to him by his friends. His plan to leave the party vanishes completely. The scene shifts back to the present, where Greg and Rutuda are stunned to learn that Krai is the leader. Rodin, surprised and slightly irritated, insults Krai, sarcastically asking if he was late due to oversleeping. Tenno steps in, defending her master, and orders Krai to remove Rodin's name from the roster for disrespecting him. We are then properly introduced to Tenno Shade, an apprentice of Krai's childhood friend, Liz. Rodin questions Krai about whether he has found any good candidates, to which Krai confidently replies that he already has enough members on his team. However, Krai then challenges Rodin to let him add a new member, choosing from the crowd. Rodin agrees. Tenno steps forward, insisting that Krai give his own name to Rodin, but Krai remains focused on the crowd. where two boys are fighting for the open spot. Krai stops them and asks the red-haired boy for his name. The boy introduces himself as Gilbert. Krai admits he's not good at judging people and decides to leave the selection to chance. He stands up and declares Gilbert's name under one condition, that he must not lose no matter what. Krai then removes a ring from his finger and announces that whoever manages to deliver the ring to Rodden will be selected for the team. He tosses the ring into the air. As Gilbert catches it, Tenno swiftly steps forward and delivers a powerful knee strike to his jaw, sending him crashing into the bartender's counter. Chaos ensues as everyone starts fighting for the ring. Krai, unfazed, steps aside and wishes them luck before casually slipping out through the back door. The building is completely destroyed in the ensuing battle between the candidates. The scene shifts to the First Step clan house, where a woman named Eva informs Krai about the destruction of the building. She also tells him that the Explorer Association wants to speak with him. Krai, unfazed, tries to push the responsibility for the pub's bill and the meeting onto Rodden. Eva, unimpressed, remarks that Krai relies on Rodden too much. Krai makes an excuse saying he doesn't want to go anywhere without an escort and mentions that his reversible face relic, which allows him to disguise himself by changing his face, is broken. Despite his attempts to avoid the situation, Krai realizes he has no choice and reluctantly agrees to attend the meeting. At the Explorer Association, Krai kneels in front of branch manager Gark, apologizing for his foolish actions. He pleads, promising it will never happen again, and tries to assure Gark by saying the pub owner is super nice and will surely forgive them. Gark's assistant steps forward and hands Krai a book, the job ledger for all explorers. Some jobs offer high pay, but come with high risk, while others are easier but less rewarding. Krai stands up, putting on his shoes and holding his coffee, remarking that picking a job will land him in a predicament. Gark tells him to choose a task for himself. Krai flips through the book, searching for an easy job he can pass off to Ark. Eventually, he finds a level 3 task and decides on a rescue mission. He informs Gark of his choice. Krai heads back home, where Tenno greets him with the unfortunate news that Ark isn't around, which complicates things for him. Trying to distract him, Tenno points to the ring on Krai's finger. Krai notices the ring and Tenno asks if she can keep it. Without much thought, Krai agrees. Krai then asks Tenno if she's free now, to which she excitedly says yes. But when he mentions a quest, she immediately bolts. Krai quickly grabs his chain, which transforms into a living creature, catching Tenno and dragging her back to him. Tenno, frustrated, confesses that she had hoped for an ice cream date with him, but is now stuck with what she calls a crappy chore. She complains that, although she's level 4, she can't rescue 5 people alone. Krai, curious, asks why she's planning to go alone. Before she can answer, he introduces her to her new companions for the mission Rotuda, Greg and Gilbert. Together, they'll accompany her on the rescue mission. Thanks for joining me on this adventure. If you enjoyed the journey, don't forget to hit that like button and subscribe for more epic content. Let me know what you think in the comments, and don't miss out on the next video. There's always more fun, surprises, and challenges ahead. Until next time, stay awesome and keep exploring.